To Washington next for U.S. politics. Joe Biden outlining an ambitious start for his presidency, announcing last night a nearly $2 trillion plan to fight the pandemic and boost the economy.
And it's not hard to see that we're in the middle of the once-in-several-generations economic crisis with a once-in-several-generations public health crisis. The crisis of deep human suffering is in plain sight, and there's no time to waste. We have to act, and we have to act now.
Biden calls the proposal the American Rescue Plan. New data shows how desperately the U.S. needs that rescue. Jobless claims, the highest in months. Daily deaths from COVID-19, daily deaths around 4,000 a day. And the COVID tracking project says this week alone is shaping up to be the worst for deaths since the pandemic began. So let's bring in our senior Washington editor, Lindsay Duncombe. Lindsay, we're still days away from the inauguration of Joe Biden, but I guess with that speech last night, effectively the start of his presidency, I said it's an ambitious plan. What does he want to do?
He wants to spend a lot of money on the problems created by the pandemic, and he wants to do it very quickly. About $400 billion here would go to specific vaccine rollout and testing programs to deal with the pandemic directly. In his speech last night, Heather, Biden called the rollout of the vaccine under the Trump administration a dismal failure and says that his administration needs to change course and get more mechanisms whereby people can get the vaccine, get those needles into arms. There is money here for state and local governments. That is something that Democrats had wanted in the previous package from December. Biden is putting it on the table right here, right now. He's also planning to give more money directly to Americans, saying that in addition to the $600 checks that were being cut as a result of that package in December, there will also be another $1,400 in direct payments. The trillion dollar part of this package, which is about putting money into people's pockets who need it, includes the expansion and the extension of the unemployment benefits. There's child care provisions in here, all of it aimed on helping Americans through this moment of crisis.
It'll be an early test, too, I suppose, Lindsay, for the campaign promise we heard from Biden that he can reach out to Republicans to get things done. He'll have narrow majorities, both in the House and the Senate. Can this package pass?
Well, there are logistical issues on top of the perennial issue of trying to get Republicans and Democrats to come to some kind of middle ground. On the logistical front, that's because when Congress comes back, the Senate is going to be tied up with the impeachment trial related to Donald Trump's actions ahead of the mob on the Capitol and the violence there. So to what degree could this even go through the Senate? Can the senators multitask? Will they find a way to schedule that? Big obstacle. Also, consider the climate while that's going on. It's going to be partisan and charged because of those proceedings. Now, there is a majority for the Democrats in the House, but it is slim. There's also the slimmest of majorities in the Senate. In order to pass with just a simple majority, rules would need to be changed. And also, you would need to be able to bring all Democrats on side. This is a lot of spending for a moderate Democrat like Joe Manchin. Still, the message of unity is something that Joe Biden continues to say he plans to bring. Here's more of what he had to say.
We didn't get into all this overnight. We won't get out of it overnight. And we can't do it as a separated and divided nation. The only way we can do it is to come together as fellow Americans, as neighbors, as the United States of America.
Is there agreement in Washington on all this spending? Well, take a listen to this Florida congressman, a House member, to see what he thinks about spending that much money.
This is a bailout package for blue states with their bad policies, for their lockdown policies. AOC and now Joe Biden are going to the big piggy bank in the sky that prints nonstop money.
There you go. Joe Biden put in the same category as one of the most progressive Democrats, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Those same talking points about big spending, we can expect to hear that from Republicans in both houses.
I was going to say, and so it begins. Lindsay, thank you very much. Lindsay Duncombe, our senior Washington editor this morning.